Alaikum. This is your course instructor Dr. Shizayaz Khilji from Department of Botany, Division of Science and Technology, University of Education, Township, Lahore. And the subject is called as environmental biology. The topic which we will discuss today is major sediment pollution, in which we have studied various types of sediment pollution caused by fungicide, herbicide and pesticide. A part of them is creating pollution in our atmosphere by means of soil. So in the previous lecture we have studied what is soil pollution, various types, its major causes. Now the remaining types and its various effects on human beings, on the living organisms and the control measures will be discussed in the lecture number 15 and lecture number 16. So before going into the detail about it, we should know about soil pollution, that refers to the presence of a chemical or substance out of a place or which is present at a higher than normal concentration that has adverse effects on any targeted organisms. And this is the most appropriate definition according to FAO in 2015. Although the majority of pollutants have anthropogenic origins, some contaminants can occur naturally in the soil as the component of minerals and can be toxic at very high concentrations. Soil pollution often cannot be directly assessed or visually perceived, making it a hidden danger. So, diversity of contaminant is constantly evolving due to agrochemical and industrial developments. This diversity and the transformation of organic compounds in the soil by biological activity into the diverse metabolites make the soil surveys to identify the contaminants both difficult and expensive. The effects of soil contamination also depend on soil properties, since these controls the mobility, bioavailability and residence time of contaminants. So soil pollution in the atmosphere is due to all of these factors, or these are the major causes by which soil pollution is increasing in our environment or the ecosystem day by day. If we look at the soil pollution which is caused by industrial pollution, for example, heavy metal, solvent, effluent are the main factor by which industrial pollution is increasing in our atmosphere and can also creating problem of the soil pollution. Then these industries discharges their waste directly, creating the pollution of land disposal in terms of radioactive waste, sludge, sewage water. Then irrigation is directly or indirectly affecting or creating the soil pollution in our atmosphere in terms of saline water and the treated waste water, which is discharged directly into the rivers, into the nearby streams by various industries without any treatment. Sea and surface water, including salt intrusions, dissolved chemical pollutants, sea salt sprays, also converting all of these factors ultimately reaches to the sea and surface water by creating the salt, sea salt spray and the various dissolved chemical pollutants directly into our river or oceans. So the domestic municipal, including surfactant, pharmaceuticals and the phosphate salts, are also directly affecting our quality of the soil. And if we look about the atmosphere, then the most dangerous factor causing the environmental pollution is the acid rain, that is all consisting of contaminants, pollutants, oxides of sulfur and nitrogen. Whereas apart from the agriculture industry, including the agrochemical, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, all kind of sediment pollution is creating the soil pollution in our atmosphere. So, the next type of soil pollution, which is due to the industrial waste, is the waste produced by industrial activity, which includes any material that is rendered useless during manufacturing process, such as that of factories, industries, mills and mining operations. Type of industries waste include dirt, gravel, masonry, concrete, scrap metal, oil, solvents, chemicals, scrap lumber and even vegetable matter from the restaurants. So the industrial waste can be categorized as solid, liquid or gaseous wastes. It may be hazardous or the non-hazardous waste. Hazardous waste may be toxic, ignitable, corrosive, reactive or radioactive, while the industrial waste may pollute the air as well as soil or nearby water resources, eventually ending up in the sea. Industrial waste is often mixed into the municipal waste, making accurate assessment difficult. So, according to an estimate for the US, goes as high as 7.6 billion tons of industrial waste produced every year. Most countries have enacted legislation to deal with the problem of industrial waste, but the strictness and the compliance regimes vary. So, the enforcement is always an issue. So, fly ash or the flue ash, commonly known as pulverized flue ash, it is a coal combustion product that is composed of the particulate, that means fine particles of the burned fuel, that are driven out of the coal-fired boilers together with the flue gases. Ash that falls to the bottom of the boiler combustion chamber, commonly called as a firebox, is called bottom ash. So, in coal-fired power plants, fly ash is generally captured by electrostatic precipitators or the particle filtration equipment before the flue gases reaches to the chimneys. Together with the bottom ash removed from the bottom of the boiler, it is known as the coal ash. Depending upon the source and composition of the coal being burned, the components of the fly ash vary considerably, but all the fly ash include substantial amounts of silicon dioxide in both amorphous as well as crystalline form. Aluminium oxide, calcium oxide, the main mineral compound in coal bearing rock strata. So, polythene bags, plastic can also pollute and degrade the quality of the soil. So, these polybags are used for packaging a variety of products. Everything from the food products to rocks and nails is packaged in the polythene bags. Many products in our daily lives are also made from the polythene. It is the most common plastic in the world. There are many variations of polyethylene. So, these polythene bags are considered to be harmful because they have the harmful effect to the environment, because polythene bags are one kind of plastics which are non-biodegradable and cause environmental pollution all around the world. So they undergo a process known as photodegradation, in which they break down into the smaller and smaller toxic particles. They are bad for the wildlife as well. So the problem of deposition of industrial waste becomes more complex due to economic limitations. It is less expensive and it is more convenient to throw the industrial waste on the available land or dump it by digging pits without treatment for industry managers. So this is the reason why the pile of the garbage is increasing everywhere on the available land around the industrial area. Chemical waste. There are many types of chemical substances in the waste dumped by the industry on the ground. Many times, many chemical substances get merged into the soil accidentally or unconsciously. These pollutants are found in the water of domestic drains, flowing or underground water. So, due to irrigation of fields or vegetable gardens with this water, there is a great harm to the fruits, vegetable and various type of food and pulses as well. Municipal waste. So the municipal solid waste, commonly known as trash or the garbage. So it is a waste type consisting of everyday items that are discarded by the public. You mean like garbage can also refer specifically to the food waste, as in the garbage disposal. The two are sometimes collected separately. So the waste may originate from a number of sources that has nothing to do with municipality. The traditional role of municipalities in collecting and managing these kind of wastes have produced the particular etymology like municipal. So they can be produced as a garbage removed from the homes, human excreta, in the forms of fruit and vegetable waste, the various waste from the gardens, nurseries, public parks, and the dung mixed with the fodder of animal shelter. So these all are the major sources of the municipal waste. Here you can see different pictures showing the sources of municipal wastes. Biological agents. Biological agents such as bacteria, fungus, viruses, and the protozoa are a major source of soil pollution, as these are mostly spread through the discharge of human and the animal waste, which is the major source of soil pollution. Radioactive pollutants. So the radioactive pollutants are generated from explosive devices like atomic tests and atomic activities in the laboratories of the nuclear power plants. Radiation like 106 and rhodium minus 106, etc., and iodine 131, barium 40, lanthanum 40, cerium 144, they can reach the radioactive waste and mud produced by the nuclear testing laboratories. So all of these radionuclides emit gamma radiation, which are also harmful to the soil. Mining and smelting. So mining waste is a high volume material that originates from the process of excavation. For example, emission of sulfur dioxide from the metal smelters. It also investigates the impact of a municipal, industrial or mining waste outfall on. So It's dressing and further physical and chemical processing of a wide range of metalliferous and the non-metalliferous minerals by open cast and deep shaft methods, whereas mining and smelting are two different chemical terms that describe the two different processes. Like smelting is a process of applying heat to ore in order to extract a base metal. It is a form of extractive metallurgy. It is used to extract many metals from their ores, including silver, iron, copper, and other base metals. Smelting uses heat and a chemical reducing agent to decompose the ore, driving off other elements as gases and leaving the metal base behind. In this case, the reducing agent is commonly a source of carbon such as coke, or in earlier times it is called as charcoal. So the main difference between smelting and mining is that melting converts a solid substance into the liquid, whereas smelting converts an ore to its purest form. So mining processes produces an excess of waste material known as tailings. So these tailings have great potential to damage the environment by releasing the toxic metals by acid mine drainage or by damaging aquatic wildlife. These both require constant monitoring and the treatment of water passing through the dam. So mining and smelting activities by the coal and the mineral mining industry is a major cause of creating soil pollution. Extraction and processing of mineral ores weakens the surface of soil. Moreover, establishment of cement industry in the hilly areas and the dust of cement which falls on the soil prevents the growth of flora and various natural vegetations. Acid rain is also affecting due to the soil pollution, that is the rain or any other form of precipitation which is usually acidic, meaning it has elevated levels of hydrogen ion at the low pH. It can have the harmful effect on the plants, aquatic animals, and the infrastructure. Acid rain is caused by the emissions of sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxide, which react with the water molecule in the atmosphere to produce acids. Some governments have made efforts since early 1970s in order to reduce the release of these oxides of sulfur and nitrogen into the atmosphere with positive results. Nitrogen oxides can also be produced naturally by lightning strikes, and sulfur dioxide is produced by the volcanic eruptions naturally. So, acid rain has been shown to have adverse impacts on forests, fresh water, and soils, killing insect and the aquatic life forms, causing paint to peel, corrosion of steel structures such as bridges, and weathering of stone, buildings, statues, as well as having impacts on the human health. So, beside these, there are various effects of the soil pollution which are caused by the natural processes, including volcanic eruptions, alteration in the rainfall patterns, earthquakes, geographical changes, air pollution, and melting of glaciers. These are all the natural causes of soil pollution. So there are some after effect of the soil pollution if we talk about in agriculture, specifically with the reference of the crops of corn and the soybean. It can decrease the quality of crop, and this will leads to decrease the quality of soil, poor quality of crops. Over the time, the soil will become less productive, and there is accumulation of toxic chemical in the larger quantity or in the bulk quantity. Similarly, as well as the crops are affected, the process of photosynthesis will also be affected due to the soil pollution. As soil polluted by the acid rain, it disturbs the overall chemistry of soil, reduces the plant's ability to take up the nutrients and undergo the process of photosynthesis. So there are many agricultural effects due to the soil pollution, like it reduces the soil fertility, reduces the nitrogen fixation, increased erodibility, larger loss of soil and nutrients, deposition of silt in the tanks and the reservoirs, the reduced crop yield, imbalance in soil fauna and flora. So polluted land with a dangerous chemical will also have some negative impacts due to the soil pollution, which is caused by industrial waste, any kind of industrial waste. So the effect of these industrial pollution are vast, causing water contamination, that is the release of toxin into the soil and the air, and it is the cause of some of the most significant environmental disaster of all the time. So dangerous chemical entering underground water will disturb all the ecological imbalance, release of pollutant gases with a bad odor, increase salinity by leaving the salt on the surface of the soil, and as a result overall quality of the crop will be reduced. There will be reduced vegetation, and the yield of the plants or the crop will be badly affected by these types of effects. Urbanization effects. So there are certain environmental effects of urbanization, like urban population interact with their environment. Urban people changes their environment through their consumption of food, energy, water, and the soil. So in the result, the polluted urban environmental affect the healthy and quality of life in terms of population rate. So environmental pollution is reaching worrying proportions worldwide. Urbanization and industrialization, along with economic development, have led to increase in energy consumption and waste discharges. The global environmental pollution, including greenhouse gas emission and acid deposition, as well as water pollution, waste management, is considered as an international public health problem, whereas legislation should be investigated from the multiple perspectives, including social, economic, legislation, and the environmental engineering systems, as well as lifestyle habits, helping health promotion and strengthening the environmental system may resist their contamination. So environmental pollutants have various adverse effects from early life. Some of the most important harmful effects are perinatal disorders, infant mortality, respiratory disorders, allergy, cardiovascular disorders, increase in stress oxidative, mental disorders, and various other harmful effects. So this is all related to the public health problem. Beside these, the clogging of the drain is the major issue in our ecosystems. So the though the short-term effect of environmental pollutants are usually highlighted, wide range of hazards of air pollutant from early life and their possible implications on chronic non-communicable diseases of adulthood should also be understood. Different drainage problem including like clogging of drains, uh, undirected downspout water can destroy landscaping, so it creates moisture and mold problem and can seriously affect the drainage in a more serious concern when there is a pollution problem. So pollution of drinking water sources, nutrient pollution can badly affect vital groundwater and drinking water. So the water like lakes, rivers, streams, they provide the drinking water unsafe. So some of these waters can be present, have an excessive amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus that make it undrinkable for the human health. Foul smell and release of gases. However, many other components such as dioxides of sulfur, ethylene and ammonia are very phytotoxic. So the effect on the plants are due to the toxicity rather than to the odor or the foul smell of these gases. Waste management problems are also associated with the urbanization because the major problems effective solid waste management are unscientific treatment, improper collection of waste and the ethical problems. This in turn leads to the hazards like environmental degradation, water, soil and the air pollutions. So there are various effects of soil pollution which are caused by industries like dangerous chemical entering underground water may disturbing the ecological imbalance. There are certain release of toxic pollutant gases in our atmosphere. They increase salinity of that area by reducing the vegetation all around the earth. So the pollution runs off into the river and kills the fish, plants and other aquatic life. Crops and the fodder grown on polluted soil may pass the pollutants on to the consumer level. Polluted soil may no longer grow the crops and the fodder as well. Soil structure is poorly damaged, like the clay ionic structure is impaired. Corrosion of foundation and the pipeline can be affected. May release the vapors and the hydrocarbons into the buildings and cellars, and it may also create toxic dust and that may be poisonous for the young children playing in that area. So this was all about the major types of soil pollution and their effects on the living things. Uh, Here is the list of all the references. Thank you so much.